All right, going to get started here in just a second. Just make sure the audio is working. Let's see. All right, are we working here? Okay, I think we're good. Hey everyone, Ryan from U-Bike Escape, and in this video, we're going to be unboxing the Rad Power Bikes RadRunner Plus. If you're familiar with this channel or familiar with some of the more popular e-bikes, Rad Power Bikes is going to be a familiar name. So excited to get this bike unboxed, and of course, we'll have a full review on this bike in the coming weeks. Of course, this is kind of their hybrid urban style e-bike that can kind of do a little bit of everything. It's got passenger capabilities. You can put small kids on the Tulia maxi seats. We'll get into all that and talk about some of the features of it here in a little bit. But if you are looking to purchase any of the Rad Power Bikes, check out the link in the description. If you use that link before you make your purchase, it helps support E-Bike Escape and makes videos like this one possible. Also helps us in making reviews as well. And we'll also have some other resources down in the description. Our electric bike accessories list, top e-bike brands page, and finally our electric bike discounts code page. Speaking of discounts, I believe this bike is still on sale as I'm recording this in August 2022. So if you click over to that link, you'll see if it's currently on sale. I believe it is, and I think this is the first time that I've actually seen the RadRunner Plus go on a specific sale, which is always good. Kind of an end of the summer sale here, and as always, I am not a professional bike mechanic, and so this video is really for anyone who happens to have questions about this bike or any of the other electric bikes we review. We just get so many comments on YouTube that it's almost impossible for us to respond to all of them. And so that's why I do these live streams. I have to put together the bikes anyway. And as you see, I'm going to cut open the box here, though I don't necessarily recommend that you do the same, because if you do need to return the bike, it's much easier if the box is still intact. But for me, it just makes it much easier in kind of taking the bike out of the box when it's just me. And of course, you get to see the packaging. This box came in really good condition, I would say. I mean, I don't see really any kind of damage on there. There we go. So I should actually look to see the current pricing on this bike, because I know that it's still on sale, so I can speak accurately. So this bike is currently $16.99, and I believe it was $18.99 before this. And as a reminder, feel free to put questions in the comment section. I see one here from Brian M. I use your code to buy my Rad City 5 Plus. I'm loving it. Wondering how feasible this bike would be to carry myself and my girlfriend around. First off, thank you very much for your support. That really helps us out. As far as carrying yourself and your girlfriend, I mean, officially, you need to abide by the current weight capacity, and I'd have to look up the specs myself. You know, when we first got our 2018 Radwagon, my wife and I rode on that bike together, and we were probably pushing the weight limit on that, so we maybe shouldn't have done it. You know, those weight capacities are made, you know, obviously set from the manufacturer. So, you know, officially, you know, Rad Power Bikes is not going to recommend that you throw a passenger if you're exceeding the weight capacity. But as far as, you know, say both of you do fall within the weight capacity, I mean, from my experience, I think the passenger area of this bike is plenty large, and it comes with the foot pegs in the rear seat, and so we'll show that off in a little bit. But as far as like ability to do so, certainly, just make sure you're following Rad Power Bike's recommendations. We've obviously reviewed the RadRunner 2, which is very similar to this bike, minus some of the extra features like the rear passenger package, the gears, and the front suspension. So I actually think that, in my opinion, unless you're on a very strict budget, I think the RadRunner Plus is worth the upgrade. Not to say there's nothing wrong with the RadRunner 2, but I think the suspension alone is a good reason to opt for the RadRunner Plus. So that's just my thought. You can see how well this is packaged here. Of course, I have my side snips, which help cut all the zip ties here. You can see Rad Power Bikes, probably the company that I feel like is known for all their safety certifications or warnings here. This is a battery warning tag, so if you're not familiar with e-bikes, highly recommend you kind of take a peek. This is the seat post warning tag. So there's a lot of good information there. Let's actually open up the box here. And again, if you are just joining us and you're looking to purchase a Rad Power Bike, check out the link in the description. Free and easy way to help support the channel, and feel free to ask any questions like Brian did. I'm always curious. Let's see, 20 or so folks that are joining us, at least at the moment. If you already own a bike, if you're looking at the RadRunner Plus, or you're just kind of curious about e-bikes in general, love hearing where people are from. So, okay, we got a fair bit of accessories in here. Let's start with, I believe this is going to be the charger. And this is the standard Rad Power Bikes charger, 2-amp charger that we see on many electric bikes. And we have another unique thing about the RadRunner Plus is it comes with the premium headlight. I believe you're more visible on the road just because it's a larger headlight, but as far as increased visibility yourself while you're riding, I think the standard stock headlight is actually pretty good. So it's a nice bonus that they throw it in there. Have the RadRunner Plus booklet here. Again, I highly recommend reading this. So go through all the safety information, charging, battery, really anything that you should need. There's even a page here on the child seat and the Tully Up Maxi. I was actually looking to see if it has the weight capacity in here, but they do give some recommendations. Here we go. Total maximum payload, 300 pounds. Rear cargo rack maximum payload, 120 pounds. So at least from Rad Power Bikes, carrying capacity on this bike, your girlfriend would have to be 120 pounds or less. And the foot pegs are made to hold 30 pounds per side. And on the front rack, if you had the front rack, has a 22-pound capacity. So their books are very well done. Lots of good information on there. I think it's something that a lot of people skip, but I highly recommend it. We have some metal pedals. These are actually not the Welgo pedals, so it looks like they maybe substituted those, but they're very similar. And what I do like is Rad Power Bikes always shares what specific hardware. So this is the RadRunner Fender mounting hardware. So they label it, which is handy. And then we also have the handlebar faceplate hardware. So those actually must not come on the bike. And then, of course, we have the toolkit here. And usually these tools they get the job done, but if you're going to be working on your bike, it's worth investing into some better tools. And you have some other information here as well. Refer a friend program. and kind of a startup guide as well. All right, we're going to continue to take off the zip ties here. And again, feel free to ask any questions in the comment section. Love to hear from you. We have quite a few reviews in the mix that we're excited to get out. Recently did a review on the Bike Tricks Cuddy, and unfortunately, fortunately for customers, they actually lowered the price of that bike. So I kind of thought it was the price at $14.99 of that bike was a little bit pricey for what you were getting. And of course, they, a day or two after we publish our review, they announced they're changing the price to $11.99. So if you happen to come across that video, that bike is much cheaper than we kind of talked about in the video. Lots of zip ties here. And we actually recently kind of had one of our friends who bought one of these bikes and had them test out the RadRunner. And I think one of the main selling points to this bike is it's not as large, for instance, as the Rad Wagon. So people who are maybe not quite as, some people just don't want such a heavy electric bike. And so this is kind of a nice happy medium between the, or just a bike that's a little bit easier to handle than compared to the Rad Wagon, while still offering the passenger capability. I did see some other comments, so I'll check those in just a second. Let me get a couple more of these zip ties here. No shortage of packaging here. Nice thing, one of the things I like about the RadRunners are the BMX style handlebars, put you in a nice upright riding position, very comfortable. And if you do decide to buy any of the Rad Power Bikes bikes, be sure to check out their installation kind of assembly videos, because they are pretty well done. I think they have one on all of their models at this point. Let's see here. Only one color offered on this bike. And while this is called the RadRunner Plus, should not be confused with the Rad Rover 6 Plus and the Rad City 5 Plus, which both have their newer batteries, and they also have the hydraulic disc brakes. So just something to keep in mind. This still has mechanical disc brakes. I'd imagine at some point they'll kind of make that a little bit more clear, maybe when they announce a new version of the RadRunner Plus, or maybe just call it something else. It can get a little bit confusing. These are the BMX style handlebars that I was just talking about. Another difference compared to the RadRunner 2, you do get the LCD display as opposed to the LED display. All right, let's check the comments here. Hello, I have a friend that is having an issue on his e-bikes. The screen indicate battery is full all the time, no matter how much he ran. It was working fine for a month. Any idea how to fix it? Gerardo, that is something I haven't. It's very weird that the screen would say the battery's full no matter what. It depends. It's going to depend what brand. Usually I defer to either the company or the Facebook page to see if anyone else has had similar issues. Does this one have front suspension? Yes, SMG 2440 it does. Plastic fenders, absolutely. Yeah, Michael went ahead and talked about the cargo capability. When are you going to test and ride the Blue Plains Fat Tire and the Magicycle? The Blue Plains, I'm not sure what bike. Oh, Okai. Yeah. So the Okai bike will be our next review. That one is done being filmed. We have some loose ends. It's being edited, and I have to do just a little bit more work myself on it, and then it'll be filmed. And then likely the Magicycle bike will be the one after that, or the RadRunner Plus. Not sure exactly. Just kind of depends where we get to. So that's kind of upcoming, but. Been planning on getting a rad eventually, given I'm close to a retail location. That's awesome near Seattle, but dang money, and I got to be brave enough to ride in the rain. Totally understand that. I think one of the biggest things, yes, Michael noted that they're water resistant. I'm actually not exactly sure what kind of water rating they give them, but I will say with our rad wagon, we have been on a trip actually back from Florida, and I didn't think it was going to rain, and then we got downpoured like overnight, and I didn't want to put the cover on it, and our rad wagon just got absolutely soaked, and no issues. In fact, I haven't had any water issues with any of the bikes, even riding in rain. It's not to say that that's not ever going to happen, but I find that they're pretty water resistant, and if we end up getting stuck in the rain, we just take a dry towel and dry it off as soon as we can. Maybe even remove the battery, just depending on how wet you get. And I totally understand the money aspect. I mean, I think the biggest thing, if you're really going to be riding it a lot, I think it's a little bit easier to justify. When we first bought our rad wagon, I kind of justified it that, I mean, I was pretty committed that we were going to use it all the time, which we did end up using it all the time. It's one of the reasons that this channel exists. And that bike had over 4,000 miles on it. And I kind of view that it paid for itself. And then even then we had sold it when we kind of got the Rad Wagon 4. So, I mean, and especially if you're comparing it to a car, I mean, I know gas prices have come down a bit, but it's still much cheaper than operating a car if you can actually commit to using it. Which it's definitely not for everyone, but I think it's worth a try. And I'm not really familiar. I've never been to Seattle. I'd love to go there. I'd love to see the Brad's retail location. I think you're pretty lucky to live right there. You can test ride and ask the employees questions. It's kind of nice. And you probably see them all over Seattle. At least that would be my guess. I mean, we see rad power bikes around our city, and our city is minuscule compared to Seattle. All right, there's the fender. A couple more zip ties still. Starting to get a little better look at the bike. I kind of talked about the reviews we have upcoming, and we have some pretty fun ones that I'm excited for. I don't like to necessarily spill the beans until we have the bikes in hand, but I think we'll have some, try to switch it up with new brands, and we definitely have some new brands that we hope to work with come September. And I've gotten, can't really talk about some of the other brands, but I've gotten some hints that new e-bikes are coming from some of the brands that we featured here. So, and I don't know what they're going to be. I just know that there's potential for them. So I'm always excited when brands that have been around for some time kind of release new ones. Of course, one of the nice things, in my opinion, about the RadRunner, not only the Plus but also the 2, is the adjustable saddle. Compared to more moped style bikes, you can actually get in a nice riding position on the RadRunner, which I do like, though this seat is pretty stiff. Now, they did make an improvement with the RadRunner 2 compared to this, added, I think, 15 millimeters of extra padding. So I'd imagine they will at some point do that on this bike as well. Okay, I think, let's see, trying to figure out, I might try to throw on the handlebars. I saw the plate here, and if I can turn that around, yeah, these are the faceplate hardware. All right, let's see what we have here. Rains a fair bit here, so I get used to riding the rain to justify the cost. Yeah, and I would say just generally really nice gear can help. Waterproof gear. I've been wearing some of the Showers Pass gear, and that's very waterproof. It is a bit expensive, but it is nice. Do you feel like these e-bikes come pretty well adjusted as far as the derailleur and brakes? You know, that is a very, very good question, because I felt like for a while I had to do more adjustments. And now, I mean, I would personally recommend anyone who's not comfortable like working on the brakes or knows anything about the brakes to take it to a bike shop. And even if you're going to assemble it yourself, go get final assembly, final checking done at a bike shop, because it's going to be, I don't know, $20, maybe a little bit more depending on where you live. And they can fine tune everything in just kind of a few minutes. And it's going to save you a lot of time, and you're going to be out riding. But I will say, on the recent e-bikes that I've reviewed, they've actually been pretty well adjusted. Usually I don't touch the brakes. I kind of feel them out for a little bit, and usually I can do the review without adjusting the brakes. Now, you should, of course, do a safety check. And the derailleurs, sometimes I have to adjust the barrel adjuster just a little bit. You've maybe seen that in some videos where I can't get into the highest gear or the lowest gear, and so I have to make slight adjustments, but that's a very easy adjustment. Not an impossible hurdle, but if I only ride on dry days, I'd hardly ride. Yeah, totally get that. Saw a few rad bikes walking my dogs today. Yeah, that's just goes to show how popular the rad power bikes models are. And of course, being in Seattle, I'm sure you just see them all the time. I do hope to make a trip out to Rad HQ and kind of see their headquarters, meet the team a little bit. We tried to make it out for Electrify, which is an electric vehicle conference that took place in July, and plane tickets were just so expensive that we just couldn't justify going out. But we would have been able to see some of the other e-bike brands there as well. So I did flip the handlebars around as well, and I'm just trying to make sure. Usually what I do with these face plates is kind of just get this started to get them out of the way when I attach the front wheel, and then final adjustments and tightening at the end. I'm using my Topic tool, my ratchet wrench that I use in most of my unboxing. Pro Bike Tool also makes one that I really like. I'll get this tightened down quick, and then we'll get the front wheel on, fender, and pedals. Now, of course, this being a rad power bike, all their front rack accessories fit on this bike, as works on all of their other models. And I also noticed the Rad Mission went back down to $9.99. It seems like Rad has been running some pretty great sales on their bikes. So I don't know what the decision-making process is, but with this bike being on sale, I'll kind of be curious to see where the prices land. With Rad being the largest seller of e-bikes in North America. Let's see. I will say one of the things that I wish the RadRunner 2 had is the LCD display. I think if you're spending around, and I think that bike is on sale as well, but I think if you're spending $1,500 on a electric bike, you should get an LCD display. And of course, really the way to put this faceplate on is to use a torque wrench. All right, we got these stable, so I'm going to leave it like that. Tilt the screen up there. And let's see. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll take the bike out of here a little bit and put that front wheel down so I can put the kickstand up. Let's see what we have here. I've been pretty close to buying a Rad myself. Thanks for the motivation. Awesome. Thanks for joining me, John. Appreciate it if you use our link before you make a purchase. Looks like you got the RadRunner Plus. Yes, this is the RadRunner Plus. I'm thinking about grabbing the Mission. Yeah, like I said, $9.99 now. I think it is a pretty good deal, especially when you factor in Rad Power Bikes, their support. I mean, it's pretty much unparalleled compared to other brands. Do you ever dab a little grease on bolts before installing them? Not on bolts as much. Usually they have like a little bit of, here I can show you, a little bit of Loctite. I don't know if you can see that blue on there. Sometimes more on other bolts than others. Some bolts from various companies. So typically I don't. I'm actually not sure if that's probably best practice, maybe if it doesn't have a little Loctite on it. But I will say, I know when I did the videos with Matt, who assembled a few bikes, you can check out those videos if you really want an in-depth look at how a professional assembles an e-bike, not someone like myself. And he always puts grease on the pedals, which I don't do, here, but I would, that's something I think that is recommended that you do. And maybe once the weather gets colder, we'll try to do some more assembly videos. They're just, I think they're very informational. They're very helpful. But it's a lot of filming and a lot of editing and a lot of boring editing, to be honest with you. Of course, they have a, talk about the quick release here. And let's make sure I have everything up here. All right, we'll get this. So the quick release is actually already on the front fork here in the dropout. So I'll go ahead and release that. And I do like there's even information underneath here about how to install everything. All right, so here's the quick release lever. And I should mention, I forgot to mention it earlier. So besides e-bike escape, I also run the Rad owners forum. So if you're looking at a Rad power bike and you want to go super deep on customizations and all sorts of things, check out radowners.com. There's so much awesome information there. And 6,000 members, I want to say now, and so many posts that I can't keep up with it. And every time I go on there, I'm just so impressed by the things people are doing to their Rad power bikes. I mean, given that they're the largest seller, there's just a lot of people that own them. And then, of course, you have a subset of people who are into customizing everything about their electric bike. And it's really cool, really cool. And a lot of some of the very specific questions can be answered or, can point you in the right direction. Of course, you can post your own thread on the forum. And so that's a great resource, and I'm sure has saved Rad Power Bikes a lot of customer support hours as well. Just lining up the disc brake here. Let's see. Not sure why this one doesn't want to go in. Try again here. It's a little tricky because the rear wheel is kind of, there we go, stuck in the back. So these, I actually really like these tires. These are, I think these are the Kenda K-Rad. It might not be they're definitely Kenda tires. I don't know if they're called the K-Rad, but they're 20 by 3.3 inch, and they kind of have this checkerboard pattern, which I really like. I just think it looks cool and offers some grip if you do happen to go off-road. And I find that I prefer 3-inch tires over like the 4-inch tires, and 3.3 is obviously just a little bit bigger than the 3-inch. But all right, got the front tire on, and now we can put the kickstand down. And I have a bunch more zip ties over here on this side, and then we'll put the pedals on and the fender on. Why did you choose the RadRunner Plus over the regular model? Yeah, so I work with Rad Power Bikes, to be able to do these reviews. So I've already done a review on the RadRunner 2. So this is the model that we'll be doing the full review on the Plus. So that's basically the reasoning for it. But I do think that when you add up all of the differences between this and the regular model, this does come to a better value if you plan to use some of the features. Like if you need the gears, if you need the passenger kit, if you're going to buy an LCD screen anyway, front suspension, you got the pegs, and you have, let's see, what else? There's probably some things I'm missing. I think we have an article on ebikeescape.com highlighting some of the key differences, but when you add all those things up, I think this is worth it. And I think a lot of people, upgrade to or choose to go with the RadRunner Plus, if only for the front suspension, because it does add some comfort. But if you're looking for a budget e-bike, I think the RadRunner 2 is a fine option. But I think it's worth at least considering the features of the Plus. And of course, as someone with 2 young kids, I love the ability to haul the kiddos on this bike in the Thule seats. Although this bike can only hold 1 versus the 2 on the Rad Wagon. But I still feel like, even compared to other e-bike brands, there's bikes similar to this, but they're not exactly the same. So I feel like this is kind of a unique offering from Rad Power Bikes. Smaller form factor, still get the cargo capability. And if you do want to ride it like a moped, you can lower that front seat all the way down. One thing to note, though, with the saddle is that if you do want something more comfortable, obviously it's not going to match up as nicely here, but you also have to buy a new seat post as well. All right, I think I got all the zip ties off. Let's go ahead and put the pedals on. Let's see. So bike, just got done dashing with my e-bike. Make some money, feed the people. Nice. I could use that bike. I like the fat tires over my bike. Yeah, what bike do you have? KBS VZ1234. You should do a review on the Aerial Rider Kepler. It looks like an amazing, it's not dual batteries, just single battery, if I'm not mistaken. I have been in touch with Aerial Rider. We've reviewed some of their bikes, and it sounded like we were going to get a Kevlar, and then I haven't heard anything since. So that's where we're at. I want to make it happen. I think it is a very interesting offering, and that's where we are. I also would love to review the Grizzly, but that's just because I like the moped style bikes as well. Got my 15 mil wrench. Just keep in mind, the nice thing is they have stickers for right and left, but the right pedal is going to be regular thread, righty tighty, lefty loosey. They do sell a center console here for the RadRunner Plus, which is a cool accessory. I think it's $100, but keep in mind that you do lose the step-through capability, which again is something unique about this electric bike, is given that it's a moped, but also a step-through. So that's really cool. Of course, we have the external battery on the RadRunner Plus, and all Rad power bikes are Class 2 electric bikes. Top speed of 20 miles per hour. 750 watt peak. There we go. All right. Here's those pegs. Derailleur. All right, I think, let's see, maybe I'll do the handlebars quick. Kind of step over here. Oops, seat wasn't all the way down. And maybe right about there. Tighten this down. Got the Tektro mechanical disc brakes on this bike. Shimano thumb shifter on the right side, twist grip throttle, simple LCD display. And I'm kind of noticing here, I kind of tightened some of the bolts down, not evenly, so I'm going to loosen these up just a little bit. Make sure I do this properly. And really, from my understanding with these stem plates, is you do want them kind of evenly tightened gap-wise. And so with these BMX style handlebars, you can kind of adjust them front to back. That's obviously something that they added with the Rad Expand 5 as well, which I do like. All right. Should be good. All right, let's move on to the Fender. Check some comments here. All right, Kamori. I've never even heard of that. I'm getting close to pulling the trigger. I'm purchasing the 700, but the RadRunner Plus is very tempting. I'm in New York City. Yeah, I think both great bikes. I mean, I've ridden and, well, not the RadRunner Plus, but the original RadRunner. I think both bikes, The 700 series is for sure going to feel more like a regular regular non-electric bike frame design wise, whereas the RadRunner and RadRunner Plus is more moped-esque, if you will. So it just depends what you're looking for. I actually really like the tires on the 700 series, but you also, on this bike, you have slightly wider tires. Haven't ridden a bike in New York City. I've been there. I don't know how important it is to have wider tires, but both great bikes. I mean, ride one up, it's actually hard to beat as far as value goes. Hydraulic disc brakes. I personally think the company is quite good, and they've made a bunch of changes to the 700 series over the years. That's probably the 700 series. I mean, I think it's a great value bike. I love the hydraulic brakes. Oh, it's an eBay e-bike. At the time, it was $650. Wow, okay. I'm trying to buy a rad power bike to do deliveries. My car broke down. I've been stuck in the mud, not making any money. Oh, sorry to hear that, John. Hopefully you can find an e-bike. Prices have dropped on these a lot since last year. Yeah, in some cases, for sure. I got the bag and kit from Craig Cussell, so I'm almost back on the road. Nice. I've already paid my bike off. Instacart, good idea. Good on an e-bike. Good to know. Love using Instacart. Just need to get you a trailer or kid trailer, as orders are bigger than DoorDash. Interesting. Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. You're doing grocery delivery on the Instacart. Interesting. Very cool. Let's see. Have you tested the Cuddy X2 yet? No, we just finished up the full suspension, the Cuddy FS. Probably not going to do the X2 anytime soon. Hoping to do a couple other Bike Tricks bikes in September. What's the volts on the bike you have there? This is 48 volt, and that's a 14 amp hour battery. I appreciate the content, but I watch your stuff to do my research, and it's been very helpful. Thank you, Ben. I can't claim to be the most entertaining person on YouTube, but we do try to help information-wise. So hoping to help people make a informed decision. I mean, I don't really care what e-bike people buy as long as you're happy. I try to share the brands that I think are good. Rad Power Bike certainly being one of them. I mean, this is a brand that's very easy for us to recommend just because of their scale. It's almost impossible at this point for any company to compete, though. That's not to say there aren't other good brands out there. It's just they're smaller, and there's pros and cons to that. But customer support is something that I continue to emphasize on the channel, and Rad Power Bikes is among the best, without a doubt. All right, I'm just getting these Fender bolts on here. Where's the other one? There it is. And of course, I've already mentioned it, but if you are looking to purchase really any of the brands that we follow, there eventually will be links in the description to all those brands. So we certainly appreciate it, and it really helps us be able to work with new brands, having people who subscribe, watch the videos, of course. All right. So, all right. Now we just have to get the premium headlight on, and we will be just about done. See, I think I need a bigger size. So thread this through the headlight first, and then through the fender. We will be pretty much ready to go. Again, we're always curious what other bikes people are looking at, so feel free to let me know in the comment section. One of the things that I will say about the Plus here too, just the cable management, they kind of have this Velcro neoprene sleeve, and it's better cable management than I've seen on some of the other rad power bikes. I think that is something that the brand can improve upon, not necessarily on this model, but some of their other ones, because there's companies that are doing such clean cable management, which again is a small thing, but I think it adds something less that you have to worry about. Just trying to tighten up the headlight here, and okay. I think that headlight is sturdy enough where it's not going to move. Plenty of clearance on the fender. And we do have to attach the front light here. I'm assuming the cable, right here, nicely tucked in here. Line that up. Plug it in. Now, while these aren't the fanciest LCD displays, the ones that rad power bikes use, I will say they are very user-friendly and easy to read, so I can't fault them for that. Some of these bikes with their color LCDs and advanced settings, sometimes it takes a little bit to get all figured out. Okay, that's all on there. I do need to tighten down the other side of the fender here, and then I'll check comments, answer anything else I can. Now, I will say another nice thing about the Plus compared to the other version is just because everything's already installed, just can save some time. Of course, you can buy the RadRunner 2 and get the rear passenger seat. Another unique thing is this one comes with the grit, or the brown grips, brown seat, and the passenger seat's also brown. You can also buy it aftermarket from Rad directly, but all right. Now, important to note, I will definitely be doing a kind of a final safety check, if you will, before I ride this bike, but it's mostly put together. And I should be able to turn it on. Probably helps if I turn the battery on though. There we go, front light. There it is. Turns on automatically. Looks like the battery's pretty much full. All right, that's the unboxing of the RadRunner Plus. All right, I'm going to read through anything else I see here, but if you have anything else that you want to talk about, let me know in the comment section. You see the quality of that frame. It's tough seeing a bike from Rent-A-Center, kind of the same camel style. However, the weld broke right in half. Oh, Rad is known for their quality. Yep, completely agree. Have you looked at the fuel fluid? I think I know what bike you're talking about. I'm gonna just do a quick Google search just to confirm. Yeah, the fuel. Yes, fuel fluid. Yes. So this company, I believe, is even. I thought they were like Wisconsin based, or I was in touch last year with them. I'm gonna look to see where's their about. Show where they're based. Well, of course it doesn't tell me here. I'm pretty sure that they have some kind of team in Milwaukee or something like that, which is kind of how I got in touch. But it has been a while, so yeah, maybe I should get back in touch with them because their bikes did look interesting. I even think I said I would do a review, and then maybe we just didn't follow up on that. So yeah. Oh yeah, here. Where is Fuel based? Headquartered in New York City with offices in the U.S. and Europe. So maybe I'm mistaken on that. But I am familiar with the brand. Have not checked out their bike in a while though. $5,500 is yeah, that's expensive, but it has NVOLO CVT. Yeah, class 3 bike. Very cool. Very cool looking bikes. I think they're belt drive as well. All right, I'm a throttle guy with pedal assist when the battery's low. The fuel bike looks sweet, not my style though. Plus, I'd be in the hospital if a $6,000 bike got stolen. Yes, totally understand. New York. Yep, thanks, Steven. Yeah, I mean, the problem with some of these bikes is you do need to be aware depending on where you live. Security is a big concern. Definitely invest in a high quality lock, alarm, air tag. Oh, nice. Steven got his for $2,500. That sounds like a pretty good deal given the specs. Usually you don't see those NVOLO hubs around that price range. They're actually the cheapest brand that I'm aware of. I can't remember. That's the CVT. So is that I don't know if that's the automatic, which is the automatic shifting or not, but just generally the NVOLO hubs are pretty expensive. V-Volt though is a brand that if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the most affordable brand with the NVOLOs. So, all right, I think I'm going to leave it there. Thanks to everyone for joining me. We'll be back soon with some other reviews. Again, link in the description to support e-Bike Escape. Vu, thanks for joining us. Michael, I will answer your question. What do you do with all the bikes you review? I've gotten this question quite a bit. I should make a video just on this, I think. I would say half of them we keep for potential in future videos. I also like to have the old model when I'm reviewing the new model. So for instance, on the upcoming Magicycle Pro review, I'll have the original Magicycle Cruiser Pro, and then the non-Pro version. I'll have that next to it just to kind of talk about some of the differences. So I do keep them for those purposes. And then otherwise, I do sell them locally here, obviously at a discount, given that they don't have a warranty or anything. So that's what happens with all the bikes. But we do have quite a few e-bikes, and obviously I'm riding different ones all the time. But great question. And I think maybe when we get kind of all of our e-bikes into storage, we'll do a video on what do we do with all of our e-bikes. And if you thought that if you watched that video, I think so. We did a video this spring that talked about, like, showed a bunch of the models, and actually wasn't all of them. But if you think I have a lot of e-bikes, you should check out Ryan Johnson over at Cul-de-sac. He's building he's the CEO of a company that's building the first car-free city, and obviously e-bikes are a big part of that. And I think he's well over 50, I think, e-bikes at this point for employees to use, friends, and his collection is just massive. And they're not necessarily like the direct-to-consumer, more affordable bikes like this. Some of them are like the higher end Bosch mid drives, and yeah, we've spoken on the phone, and it's a very impressive collection, and makes me want to go to Arizona to do some reviews on some of the bikes, or at least check them out in person, because you just don't have access to like a collection like that, or just such a wide variety. You could compare so many bikes, but so that's what I do with them. All right, with that, everyone, have a great weekend. Happy Friday. And we'll see you soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Check out the links in the description.